Here comes the
here
boy.
comes the boy. Hello, boy. Welcome. Yeah, welcome everybody back to Attack the Talk. This is another episode of the podcast, and you guys have already seen here that joining me and welcome back is Zach Attack.
Hello.
What's up, Zach?
It's good to be back.
Yeah, dude,
It's
good to
very
see
good
you.
to be back.
It's good to have you back over on the podcast. You know that I always love it when you're here in the podcast. We'll get an update on how you've been, but let's go ahead and let's tell the viewers that another episode, guys. We're going to be focusing on episode 2 of season 3. This will be Pain Part 2. We will be finishing up that episode next week. But yeah, I feel like we had to split these episodes into we had to do the same thing with last episode, where episode 1 we split into 3 parts. And the same thing with this episode. I feel like there's just, with season 3, we're getting more information.
In reality, we're just milking everything for viewership.
Yeah, there's that too. But also, it's like they stop it in key moments where it's like, okay, that's like a cool little cliffhanger to stop it on. But also, as I'm like, typing out the script and everything, I'm like,
this is
damn,
a long episode.
Like this would be a long episode if I were to go to the end of the episode, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'm like, man, we have to stop here. But I feel like there's so much we can talk about with what I've already
just
typed
that
out.
little
and stuff,
bit of content.
Yeah, and because
there's so much
with season 3 is that we've now discovered that it's not about Titans anymore, right? Titans are still there, but now it's humans killing other humans. So now we're getting a little bit of like the inner collusions happening, and we're gonna go ahead and find out more about that. But yeah, we're getting some more information, so that's why we're gonna split into
and
parts.
we're getting to the point too where we're gonna start seeing a lot of things start tying back into the foreshadowing from previous seasons.
Yeah.
So that's like a whole, like, we're gonna start seeing dots connecting, storylines connecting, things that we forgot about getting brought back, and there's just so much keyword content within these episodes that we can just go ahead and talk about, take 5 minutes and talk for an hour.
And I love it. I love it so much.
I'm not against it whatsoever.
Because I love talking to Mayo T. But yeah, so joining us right now is we got Eddie, fan of the show. What's up, Eddie? Please let us know how you're doing, my friend. I hope you had a good week. How's your weekend going? Zach misses you. Hope that you missed Zach. Obviously you do by your message here saying Zach Attack. And yeah, so let us know, Eddie, how you're doing. But I want to ask you now, Zach. Tell us. The people want to know, how have you been? What have you been up to, man?
An insane amount of work and just the move and everything.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I don't think I even told you this because I ended up not going through. I almost moved to San Diego for work.
Oh, really?
We almost moved in April to San Diego.
Oh, wow.
And I got given an opportunity, and I doubt I'm going to do it, but they told me that they want me to move to San Jose by the end of the year.
Damn.
So it's been insane. I've been doing a lot of traveling.
They're putting you in moments of limbo a little bit, where it's like, hey, this might be happening. You might have to be moving to this place.
Funnily enough, literally yesterday, I was approached with the idea of going to Texas for 4 months.
Really?
Fun fact.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes away from where our editor lives.
Oh, yeah, from where Nate. Of course, you got to shout out Nate.
It was literally a 30-minute drive exactly from where Nate lives.
So in a weird way, that would have worked out, and it would have been cool. It would have been cool little growing experience and all that, learning experience and stuff. And and also it's so convenient that you're going to a place where you already have you're already kind of connected and stuff, which is really cool.
It was funny to me because they gave me the location of the office, and I was like Austin.
Did a little map.
I was like, Austin. Isn't Gerald right by Austin? Sorry to expose you, Nate. But I was like, I know where that is. I was like, oh my God, I could literally drive to Nate in 30 minutes. And then I told them no because I didn't want to move.
Yeah. And now anybody who's familiar with Texas or lives in Texas, they can now also drive to Nate as well, because Zach is...
I'm not telling you. His address is... No, I'm not going to expose Nate like that. He's got 5-6 other roommates, maybe 7 housemates. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a busy house.
So thank you for bringing up Nate. We want to, of course, shout out to you, NatePlaysBad, for also, just taking the time and just all the effort and all the hard work to go ahead and try to make this podcast better and better each time. And so, Nate, thank you so much. I feel like I've already have thanked Nate a bunch of times just this week, because I love that Nate has been helping out this podcast and stuff, and so it's cool. We've been able to go ahead and get some stuff going this week, And again, it's all thanks to you, Nate. So Nate, thank you so much, my friend.
Best baby brother in the world right there.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I don't know what this podcast would be without you.
Fun fact, Nate has his own merch.
Really? Nate Plays Bad?
When he came to visit, he had a Nate Plays Bad beanie.
Really?
So if you guys go to Nate Plays Bad on his YouTube or his Twitch, I'm sure you can find a link.
Oh, yeah,
One
definitely.
of Nate Plays Bad beanie.
We have a link that's also in our episode descriptions where you click it, we get to go support our editor, and then you click it, and then it'll take you to his channel.
Nate, if you guys want a Nate Plays Bad beanie. Plus, his content's funny. Like,
yeah.
I have a very, like, niche sense of humor, and somehow he hits it. Even though, like, we have very different senses of humor, he tickles my funny bone, and I'm like, that's funny. But go check out Nate.
Yeah, please, definitely go support Nate, because Nate does so much for this podcast, and thank you again, Nate.
Freaking superstar.
Let's go ahead and clap it up for Nate. Hey, also joining us is SB. Welcome back. And
hello.
SB says, welcome back, Zach.
Hi, SB.
What's up, SB? I want to ask you the same question I asked Eddie. We're still waiting on Eddie's response. Hopefully Eddie's doing well. but SB, please let us know how have you been? How's your week? How's your weekend going? And thank you so much for joining us. We're going to continue on with episode 2 of season 3. But before, of course, we get into all of that, Zach's going to go ahead and talk about the poll results that we had for the week, the Q&A and a couple responses that we had. Also, as far as the Q&As go, so Q&As, the questions now will be asked over on Instagram. I know that a friend of the show, B. Dennis, answers all of our questions every single week on Spotify. And I need, B. Dennis, if you're listening, man, I need you to know that the questions will now be asked on Instagram. So please continue responding to the questions, because you know how much I look forward to your responses, my friend. So yeah, Eddie's chiming in saying I've been good. Getting better at skateboarding for sure.
Let's go, Eddie. I saw those videos.
Yeah,
I see them videos.
I saw them too. And how am I? I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for asking. It's been a really, really nice week, productive week of work, and just getting some stuff done. And also, as I mentioned, a productive week with the podcast and stuff, and being able to communicate with Nate. And we're working on making some things more visually pleasing. I know that visually pleasing was like the word of the podcast last week, as we were talking about how visually pleasing the ODM scenes are when Levi is literally trying to avoid Kenny and his squad. And so
what did it give me flashbacks to? When did it was like one of our first episodes when we took like a deep dive into I think it was Mikasa zooming around in ODM gear.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember. That was like one of the first.
Yeah. Was it when it was after their training sequences over in the, or is it when they're in the forest? Or no? Because I remember
they were in town.
Oh, okay. Damn, that early.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I think it was around not first. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. It was around Female Titan era.
Ooh, okay. I feel like that still feels so long ago.
I know, it feels like forever ago.
Yeah, because Annie has been. He's just been like literally crystallized for a long time.
God knows how long now.
Yeah. Speaking of Eddie, SB is also chiming in saying, Eddie, I saw your videos. Good stuff, dude. Yeah, go check out Eddie over on his YouTube channel. Check out his skateboarding vids. YouTube channel is at his name, Eddie Hinston. Go check that out, guys. Go support Eddie, because Eddie is also another great creative mind. We've talked about on the podcast how he aspires to be a filmmaker, and I think that is so freaking cool, man.
He's gonna kill. He's doing a great job already.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that it's cool. You're already seeing the kind of like fruits of his labor, and then with Eddie having these aspirations, he's only going to get better, and who knows what kind of content he's going to create. So I'm super excited, man. And definitely go check out his YouTube channel, check out his videos.
Cool.
It's definitely worth the watch, guys. And if you like, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Go ahead and like and comment and do all that good stuff. And we obviously like it whenever Eddie here joins us in chat as we're streaming live. So shout out to you, Eddie. And it's very cool. Thank you so much for the comment, SB. And SB, let us know again how you're doing. Zach, I'll go ahead and let you
poll results.
Take it away. Whatever one you want to start with, the question or the poll.
We'll start with the poll. Because I really liked this question.
Okay.
I immediately knew my answer from when I saw it. But
I think a lot of people did.
This week's question was, what is your favorite Captain Levi battle?
Yeah.
And the 3 options we had were Levi versus the Female Titan, versus the Beast Titan, and then versus Kenny and crew.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the results, coming in an astounding 2% for last place. We had Levi versus the female Titan.
Okay.
Which, in my opinion, I won't say what I voted for yet, but underrated fight. It was still a really good.
We can go and talk about each specific fight. You know, as we get the results.
We'll dive into it.
Yeah.
Now, do we want first place or second place?
Go ahead and give a second.
Second place. Second place coming in at 31%. We had Levi versus Kenny and Crew.
Say the percentage again. 35.
31.
31%. Wow.
31.
Okay.
And then the remaining 67%, we had Levi versus Beast Titan, which.
I mean, that's the thing is that I think even Kyron had commented saying that when you think of Attack on Titan, one of those moments
you see,
that you think about instantly is Captain Levi versus the Beast Titan, right?
So
So shout out to you, Kyron. Thank you so much for that comment. But yeah, it's I think that we all kind of knew where the majority was going to sway. I think we knew which one wasn't going to get the love. So let's talk about the results. Very quickly, I want to go ahead and mention that SB, she chimed in saying that all is good here. Thanks for asking and warming up in the Midwest, and it was nice to get to go outside. Awesome, very cool.
Midwest, and chilly out there.
Yeah,
chilly.
Yeah,
I couldn't last
because I am so accustomed to that California weather and stuff.
Summer all year round,
and
2 months of cold, and then summer again all year round.
It's down to like 60, and I'm like, oh, it's chilly. In reality, it's just like, come on. Now.
We could not last in New York.
No.
Where it would get down to like 20s, 10s, teens, and like, nope.
Yeah, it's difficult, but glad to hear that things are warming up over there. So. Let's definitely go and let's talk about the results, starting with the 2%er.
Yeah.
And that is, as you mentioned, it's a fight that we only got a sample size of, right? And it makes you think of, again, it's all just kind of potential of like what we could have gotten and stuff, right? Because one thing that we talked about last week is, and we talked about kind of our top surprising character moments, right? In terms of like how they enter the anime, right? Because we know that with Kenny, he literally just shows up and he like pretty much like blows off Nifa's head, right? So it's kind of like a boom.
He came in with some
I'm kicking
attitude.
the door down, and I'm introducing myself to Attack on Titan, right? And then so another one that we talked about is the female Titan, because remember when we first see the female Titan is we see this, which these two scouts are saying, oh, look at that abnormal off in the distance. And we just see this freaking Titan in a sprint.
Just
off in the distance, right?
Sprint.
And then, again, we realize right from the get-go just how imposing and how ruthless this Titan is.
We're like, oh, this is going to be like a big reoccurring character.
Yeah. So now it's like the potential of like, can you imagine this ruthless character in the female Titan against Levi? Because we saw, again, epic kind of, I mean, it's unfortunate how things ended, but, again, it was an epic battle between the female Titan and the Levi squad.
Yeah.
Because we saw that as they worked together as a unit, like, they both, I mean, well, not both, but like the group, right? Like, they all just came together. They literally were like almost like finishing each other's sentences and stuff, They were just, it's such awesome coordinated attacks. And then it's almost like Annie didn't really have a chance, right?
Yeah, you really saw their chemistry shine.
Yeah, and it's like when you think about maybe a 1v1, like say we go ahead and we're choosing two characters for this like Super Smash Brothers type thing, right? And we have, all right, I'm choosing the female Titan, you're choosing Levi Ackerman. It's like, okay, let's go ahead and see how they battle out. Like, it'd be interesting to see,
an unstopped, like uninterrupted, like just pure out brawl between them.
Yeah. And I think that no doubt that Levi would win, but I think it'd be so entertaining, right? Because just even Levi's like his style of how he attacks and everything, it's crazy. You don't see it really from any other characters.
Yeah, I mean, and if we want to be like, in all honesty, him versus the Beast Titan is like, in my eyes, Beast Titan by far outclasses female Titan in terms of experience, capability, and skill. So it's just like a female Titan stands no chance.
Yeah, it's a matter of how quickly will Levi, take care of business, right?
Yeah.
But again, we only get just a glimpse of it. And it's that. In terms of that battle, it only happens when obviously Levi and Mikasa are trying to, save Eren. And in Levi's mind, he doesn't even know if Eren is alive because Mikasa explains that she witnessed Eren get eaten, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, Levi, just for the sake of looking, we'll go ahead and we'll check, right? But then you know, we see that Levi obviously outclasses her. You know, obviously outclasses the female Titan.
Isn't that with a busted ankle too?
Yeah, that's when he ends up hurting his ankles because of Mikasa's downfall, and that downfall being she gets so emotional, you know, when it comes to Eren, right? And so I remember Levi pretty much instructing her not to do anything crazy, right? But then she does something crazy once she sees that Eren is alive, right? When they finally are able to go ahead and pin the female Titan, you know, to the ground, she's pretty much immobilized, and they expose Eren by, you know, pretty much carving her freaking her jaw, yeah. And then again, Mikasa does something that she's not supposed to do. Very reckless approach, and she goes after Eren, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but doesn't the female Titan she channel her healing to like one specific thing? I know she does that with the Levi squad as well, when she channels, her eyeball or something like that, right? One eye, but then she pretty much is able to
one eye so she can see them again.
Yeah, but she pretty much is able to go ahead and like almost trap Mikasa into blindly charging in, and then she like is getting ready to go ahead and it's with a kick. I want to say it was with a kick, or maybe it was like, remember she's like flailing her noodle arm that she can't control anymore.
I think it was the noodle arm. I think she flailed the noodle arm.
Yeah, and then Levi pretty much goes out there and he like stops it with his ankle, ends up busting his ankle, and then Levi's out of commish for a good
little while.
Yeah.
And it's just like, in the sense of fighting, it was like she was basically waiting for that like aggressive like what am I thinking of? I had a brain fart. I had the term and then I lost the term. Haymaker.
Oh, yeah.
She's waiting for that wide haymaker, and then that, in the sense of just Mikasa just blindly rushing in, and the next thing you know, she's like, "There's my opening. Let's go."
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's just a sample size that we got, and then obviously with you said that was 31% is the second one, right?
Yes, 31%. That's Levi versus Kenny and
Levi
crew.
versus Kenny and crew, and then we see that. I mean, we talked about it last week. I mean, Levi. There's no chance really that he's supposed to survive this.
Yeah.
But because he's Levi and he's so damn talented, he's a badass.
He's like, yeah, that's not stopping me.
He literally is doing whatever it takes to survive, and we even see that there's moments where he is ruthless, and he understands that he has to go ahead and murder humans.
It's
right?
kill or be killed, and he realizes that to the fullest extent.
Yeah, and then he's literally using his ODM gear as a weapon. He's literally like. We talked about it last week. He's going full Mortal Kombat, where he's like literally throwing his wire.
Get over here!
And he's like literally killing them by
like impaling people with his hooks. And
exactly. He's impaling, and then and then
healing.
It's so cool. Again, just visually stunning, right? And that's just the first action that we see between Levi versus Kenny. We know that there's gonna be another one when they're underground and stuff, right? And then so that's another thing too, is when you think about some of these fights that we had in this poll question, that you can kind of think of one fight or another fight, right? Because the same thing can be said with the Beast Titan, which we know obviously is the majority of the votes, right? We have Eddie chiming in as well, saying that I would have chosen I would have chosen that one too, but you guys haven't covered it, so I just didn't want to spoil anything. Okay, I think it's talking about one of the ones that we, as I mentioned, a fight that's going to happen later on down the line. But then Eddie says that the Levi versus the Beast Titan, that's where he voted. And then SB saying, the poll was hard this week. All these face-offs are crazy, but Levi versus Beast Titan is iconic.
It's going to stand the test of time. Like, that'll be one of the main fights that keeps reoccurring.
SB asks us a very interesting question. We'll get to your question, but let's continue talking about this battle, the Levi versus the Beast Titan, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, iconic.
Are you really gonna call it a fight? Because it seemed more like a one-sided victory.
Yeah. And the thing too with the Beast Titan is he has a lot of resources that he's able to use, right, to help him to escape or whatever the case is and stuff like that. I think about that.
He's
first encounter.
Has the ability to command Titans, the ability to throw, like to keep distance, and the fact that also in that fight, there was little to no environment that Levi could use for ODM movement.
Yeah.
Like, Levi is at a full disadvantage, and he just does not care.
Yeah. It's the battle that when Levi literally has to go ahead and just take out a line of Titans just to get to the Beast Titan.
He literally just uses, it feels like he uses the Titans as a mode to get closer instead of just...
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Instead of looking at the enemies, he was like, cool, I have my stepping stones.
Yeah. And then, like, obviously the distraction was, unfortunately, the scouts blindly charging, and it's doing a suicide run,
With the
but once Levi was able to get to... But once Levi was able to go ahead and get to the Beast Titan, again, it's just an awesome battle. It's very, very cool. I'm excited to go ahead and talk about it when we get to that point. But
not only did he get there, but he
kicked his ass, man.
Absolutely desecrated him.
That's where the Beast Titan completely just didn't respect Levi, And
then got owned.
And then he
got owned.
And before he realized that this is the Levi that Ryan and Bertold were telling me about, it was too late. And then he had the Cart Titan go ahead and save him. He
got lucky.
Definitely got lucky. But yeah, SB, she's asking us a very interesting question. She's asking us, do you think Kenny really wanted to kill Levi?
I don't think he wanted to, but I think Kenny is a man of business. And that he would have if given the proper opportunity.
Yeah. I think maybe Kenny was kind of hoping maybe one of his, crew would have got the job done,
and
right?
None of them got the job done.
Yeah, no, none of them had a chance. But in terms of that relationship, we understand it's a very interesting relationship that Levi and Kenny have. One thing we kind of got, some information on was that Kenny's pretty much asking Levi, hey, so. You using all those moves that I taught you type stuff. So obviously Kenny had that kind of impact on Levi, and helping Levi become the really... In
terms of training him, getting him
the badass that he is.
Yeah.
Because we understand that Kenny, he is a legend. He literally is known as Kenny the Ripper. So Kenny's got some skills. We understand that Kenny had that influence on Levi, and as well as Kenny having that influence on his crew, because we see that the crew, they're very talented when they use their ODM gear. So obviously there was training done there.
It's just all high level combat.
But does Kenny want to kill Levi? I don't know, because we find out as well that Kenny has been looking forward to encountering Levi again. And he obviously has had his eyes on Levi, because he says, I gotta admit, I'm not disappointed. Pretty much, from what I've been seeing, you took
everything I gave you and put it to good use,
right?
It's almost like a proud father.
Exactly. I like that. I like that kind of example. It is kind of like a proud father. And again, we're gonna go ahead and talk about that relationship that they have when we get to it. But yeah, Eddie's asking, his crew are MPs, right, or MP mercenaries? I think that I'm not quite sure. I want to say that some of them are MPs. I want to say that even some of them are just because we understand that
just hired guns.
Yeah, hired bounties or bounty hunters. Because remember the ones that kidnapped, Aaron and Historia. Obviously we know that was John and that was Armin. Poor Armin. Was getting freaking groped and everything, right?
Armin.
but Levi finds out that the ones that kidnapped them are just amateurs.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, and then maybe they're just hired. Just mercenaries.
Yeah. I have a feeling them being amateurs shows even more that they're just hired.
Yeah.
I feel like they understood that it's a big job to go ahead and kidnap the Eren Yeager.
Yeah.
They were like, we just need to get as many hands on deck as possible, so we'll take amateurs if need be.
And can you imagine getting that order? Okay, Zach, I need you to go ahead and capture the Eren Yeager. You realize that, okay, I'm going to capture literally a person that can transform into a Titan.
You can just kill me now.
Yeah.
If I'm not allowed to leave without knowing this or with knowing this information, you can just kill me now, because no, it's not happening.
Yeah. So, we can't really answer your question, Eddie, unfortunately, because I think that's information that, we don't really get. I think it's kind of up to interpretation a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of amateur abilities, I guess MPs can also be amateurs too, because we understand that MPs are pretty lazy. They don't really like to go to that full extent of combat skills and stuff. They're very
Most people
content.
go to the MPs just to relax.
Yeah, relax,
leisure.
Be safe inside the inner wall, and drink and play some pinochle. Yeah. So
yes, pinochle.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta appreciate the pinochle references whenever we can throw them in there.
We're gonna make a pinochle.
Yeah, we're gonna learn how to play it. I'm pretty sure we've explained it before, but I've already forgot. So,
Same.
Yeah,
we're gonna make a pinochle podcast episode.
But yeah, so I mean, who's to say who the crew is? We just know that this crew, I mean, they're pretty damn talented because, I mean, as we talked about, Levi being able to go ahead and just, travel through the little nicks and crannies over in that town of Trost. For the most part, his crew can do the same thing.
Yes, they do, Eddie.
Eddie, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. MPs, I mean, the MPs they're
lazy.
something else.
They're lazy.
But yeah.
And then that Q&A?
Yes, we definitely have a Q&A. And I forgot we have the responses to get to.
So, this week for the Q&A, the question was, do you think it's justified for Jean to hesitate and freeze when he realizes humans are now the enemy?
It's a moment where the episode ended, where we ended our episode last week in that little cliffhanger. And then we see that John does hesitate after giving the instructions, the orders from Captain Levi, that these humans are trained and they've already taken out some of ours. So do not hesitate or else you will die. And what does John do?
Hesitates.
John hesitates. So,
immediately.
So, all right. So
breaks rule number 1.
Yeah.
So in terms of the responses, first we have Chio_jelly. I'm going to say jelly, but it's spelled with a G.
Okay.
The response is, yeah, period. The woman also hesitated, I like to believe, because she knew he was a kid.
Ooh, okay. I like that because that's something we're going to focus on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the episode.
Yeah. That's very, very cool.
That's something that we're going to address in the episode today, but I wholeheartedly agree. The second one comes from anime_darling97. It is justified. John has a heart.
Yeah.
Big facts.
Yeah.
It's the size of a horse's heart.
Yeah. Well, with John, as kind of, I don't want to say rough on the edges as he wants to portray, as kind of like,
he wants to act like a tough guy.
Yeah.
It's 100% valid. He acts like a tough guy.
You see that.
There's multiple times where we see him kind of break the facade down for a second. You're like,
he does. He has a big heart.
He isn't just an asshole.
He cares a lot.
He's an asshole with a heart.
Yeah, but he cares about, the ones that are kind of like, I guess he has these close connections with. He's got these bonds with and stuff like that, But then also just realizing now that, and we're going to talk about it again in the episode we're going to cover, but like the fact that now it's humans that they have to go ahead and battle against, that
it's like
really
a whole shift in
it
like
really we see that it impacts him. So yeah.
And the fact that they get blindsided with that like huge moral shift, where like, hey, you better check your moral compass, because if you don't, you're probably gonna get killed.
Yeah, it's gonna cost you your life. Exactly.
My boy, my son, Derek Senju, aka Kyron, says absolutely justified.
Yeah.
Miss you, Kyron.
Yeah. Absolutely justified, for sure. We can go ahead and we'll talk about it as we go ahead and we find out the what ends up happening, and we talk about in the episode. But yeah.
Next up, we got our boy Marco Mamone.
What's up, Marco?
Our boy Marco. He says, yes, they weren't prepared to fight humans, just monsters that eat humans.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's like a huge shift, and like
very
your
sudden.
target is now similar to you, not the polar opposite.
Yeah.
And then last one we have Eddie's. We have Eddie's response. Eddie Hinston says, no, because at this point in the story, he should have learned that in this world, it's kill or be killed.
Oh,
so he's the only one to take the alternative
all right. I like that,
Which
Eddie.
I do agree as well, like with all that he has done and seen, and realizing that from the beginning too, like from the time where we realized that humans can turn into Titans.
Yeah.
Like he should realize, okay, at that point in time, for me personally, when I was watching it the first time, I was like, okay, so the line is no longer black. It's no longer black and white. Like humans can be Titans. Like everyone is like, anyone could be an enemy. So you got to prepare. Like, if I am gonna fight this Titan user, I might have to kill them in human form. Well, you will have to kill them in human form. So you would have to like kind of overcome that obstacle in your head then. So like, I could see why Jean shouldn't have really flinched, but you have to realize too that these people that they're fighting at that point in time can't turn into Titans.
Yeah, they can't. And then
they're just human.
Another thing too that they realized is the fact that, again, it's still a hypothesis, but the fact that, with Raguko and everything that happened there, and how, the theory is that the people became the Titans. That's another sudden realization that they have to accept, is that that's something that's a possibility, right?
Could be killing humans in a different form.
And then we see that, it's kind of weird, because thinking about it now, it's like Levi receiving that information, Levi was kind of caught off guard and very stunned, and he even now was realizing that the things that I have trained to kill, right,
are still human at the end of the day.
Like, I have been killing people.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, maybe people can argue that he's having a Jean moment right there.
Yo, 100%.
You know? So it's like, yeah, you know, we're going to talk about it again in this episode, but, you know, it's one of those things where Jean has to suddenly just realize that this is what's happening now, and I have to just, now I'm thrown into the fire, you know? So it's like, okay.
I'm here, I have to act. Like, if I don't act, then I could die. Like, you have to make that split decision.
But we're also going to see, too, is that if you do act and you do what you're supposed to do, that those still also have effects on the person. We're going to realize, too. So,
exciting episode.
Yeah. But very cool. Thank you to everybody
philosophy of this
who,
episode
thank you to everybody who responded. We appreciate the responses. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll go in and we'll get into the episode. We'll do some slight recap. We already did some recap, but yeah, I also want to mention too that people obviously realizing that Lexi is not here. Lexi is actually she's away. She is she's dog sitting. So
she's on vacation.
Yeah, so she's dog sitting. Hopefully Lexi can go ahead and join us at some point. But I know that she's very busy with I believe it is a few dogs. So I'm sure she's got her hands full.
I love puppies. She can make them watch the episode too.
Yeah, I know, right? yeah. But all right, so cool. We covered the poll. We covered the Q&A, and yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and do some little recap. That recap being, as we talked about, with Levi and Kenny, their first encounter, the realization that it's now humans that are the enemies, and
everyone's fair game.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil anything because I want to say something, but we're going to talk about it in this episode. But yeah, I guess the only other thing to really mention is, because we're going to see that character again, is that our main merchant, Mr. Reeves, he is involved somehow. We see that when Armin and John were kidnapped, as they were in disguise, we see the man that's walking in was Mr. Reeves and his son, Flagel. So we're going to go ahead and find out how they are involved. It's kind of weird, because we know the last time we saw Mr. Reeves, he's, always been an asshole, but he's, he cares a lot about his business and his money, right? But maybe he cares about some other things too. So, we'll go ahead and we'll see why he's involved. But yeah, and the only other thing I think to mention is, as we start this episode, is that there's something very weird happening. I want to say in like the Walsina, right, where pretty much like the king is supposed to be, right? Yeah, some weird things are happening there over, and we're gonna go ahead and be informed more about that. But we saw our first look at this weird, like, committee, this weird, like, group of
see our council
people. Council, exactly. That's the better word to go ahead and describe it as, this council. So, again, guys, this is season 3, episode 2. This episode's name is Pain, and this is part 2 of our episode
Every time
breakdown.
I say that word, I'm sorry. I keep thinking about Naruto.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that I think that we talked about that last week, and then I mentioned Naruto. I was like, yeah, episode name is Pain. I was like, who's Pain? We don't know. And I think Lexi mentioned the Naruto character Pain or whatever, and I was like,
Nagato.
Maybe it's about him. Maybe. Well, probably not, but
Naruto Uzumaki.
But yeah,
you will know pain.
So here we go, guys. So yeah,
Pain. They killed my boy. I'm not gonna say it. You haven't seen Naruto yet, have you?
No.
I won't spoil it. I will make you watch it. If I could get you on One Piece, I can get you on Naruto.
We'll see.
Tune in next time to see if AJ watches Naruto.
This world shall know pain.
Yes. Thank you, Eddie. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm gonna go on a whole other tangent. We're on an AOT podcast. I'll keep the Naruto for another day.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So we resume the episode by going to a very fancy location. We are informed that this location is Capital Mitris. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. Maybe it's Mitris, maybe it's Mitris.
It's too late now. We coined it. Canon.
Inside of this Capitol building, we continue a deliberation that we saw earlier among very important figures, as Zach had mentioned, this council. And then a man by the name of Roderick. Of course, his name is Roderick.
Freaking Roderick.
Roderick, who we see is a member of
kid,
the church. He's wearing that same attire that Pastor Nick was wearing. Very interesting there, all right? So he's a member of the church, and he says, "It's a shame that nothing came of our chat with Irvin. We're no closer to finding Eren Yeager or Historia. At this rate, all of our actions against the Scout Regiment will prove to be for nothing." And then we see that, again, there is this 4-member council as a member by the name of Ariel agrees. And then a 3rd member chimes in by asking,
"So, do we know what kind of information they might have gotten out of Pastor Nick?"
And then again, unfortunately, Pastor Nick is no longer with us.
R.I.P.
You know, he died over in Trost in a hidden kind of room where Hanji tried to hide him, but unfortunately, there's some weird things happening there. So we still got to get answers on that. And obviously, this council is aware of it. So Ariel answers, "No helping it. If our questions get specific, we'll risk giving them information they didn't have in the first place." And then that 4th member now adds,
"No. What they learned is irrelevant. All that matters now is what they tried to learn. The Charter of Humanity is clear on this. We'll deal with them as the law dictates."
Interesting. The Charter of Humanity. I wonder if that's what they're referring to themselves as. The Charter of Humanity.
Thought they were a church.
No. And then we then
name.
get a look at the sudden, we talked about it, this new king who is sitting on his throne. And again, this king looks very unamused. Looks like a very lazy king as he's just sitting there. Kind of just
seems like he's bored out of his mind.
Yeah. So we get another look at him. But then the door suddenly opens and these 4 members of, I'm guessing, the Charter of Humanity, they all turn. And then a messenger hands a note to Ariel. As Ariel states, "This is from Lord Rice." And in Ariel, he appears to be shocked by the news. As he informs the other members, he's captured Eren and Historia. He's going to take direct action against Irvin and the Scout Regiment. He requires no assistance at this time. And then back at Trost, we see MPs loading materials for transport. As MP Commander Niall Dock, he says,
"That's the last of it."
Interesting. Again, that's another weird thing that we see that's happening. I know that we talked about it. I think Eddie also had mentioned about the material that these squad members that Kenny has, right? They're using the ODM gear because we imagine that the MPs are supplying them with it, right?
100. There's nowhere else they can really get it
Yeah.
from. Unless they want to like black market purchase it, but then
there's like a lot of weird obstacles that kind of have to go through there, I think, right? Because they wouldn't be able to get it all in bulk, I feel like, unless they're getting it from the source.
Well, I mean, what did we
you remember
see forever ago?
Yeah, it was over with Marlo and with Hitch, remember?
Yes.
And they were seeing MPs doing some little dirty business there.
Stuff,
yeah, and then they were...
that's exactly what my brain went to. I was like, okay. It's probably this same kind of group that...
Yeah, they've been supplying, and then they're sending it. And we see that they're sending it over on transport over in these kind of like these ferries, you know, that are, you know, we know that these boats are they travel through the walls, right? They go ahead and they have these tiny little kind of like almost like I don't want to say caves or whatever, but pretty much it's a tiny little way from them to transport. But
it all comes full circle.
Yeah, so that's something that, you know, we saw way back when, and then again, it's just kind of setting up, you know, like for a future. Now here we are in season 3. And then we see here another moment where it's like the MPs are continuing to go ahead and transport material.
Yeah.
Right. And then obviously the commander is aware of it, as he literally says that's the last of it. So, all right. And then we now see Niall. He's inside of a room. But also inside this room is Irvin Smith. And Irvin, he's out of uniform, as Niall tells Irvin,
"If you want any of your personal effects returned, ask for them later."
And then Irvin quickly responds, "No, that's fine." Then Irvin turns to look Niall right in the eyes. "But if you have a moment, I'd like to talk." And then Niall informs Irvin,
"I'm not really in the mood to reminisce about old times."
And then Irvin asks Niall, "Why so cold, Niall?" And we see Irvin, he takes a seat, almost as if to invite Niall. "We were like brothers back in our days as cadets. Quite soon, this tiny world of ours will be changed. Will that change be hope or despair? Can we trust the crown with the future of humanity? And now we're staring at this like unlit candle. Who should decide? Then Irvin lights a match and just stares at the fire. Who has the right? Who will you trust? Niall. And then Niall appears to be concerned as he says,
Erwin, tell me, what are you planning to do?
And then Irvin, he now lights the candle. I'll make a gamble. Same as always. Oh, okay. So another example of seeing the commander of the scouts, right? Mm-hmm. Commander Irvin. We've talked about how calm, cool, collected that this person is, right? And this is literally a person where you would think that he should be almost begging, right? They've stripped him of everything. He no longer is allowed to go ahead and command the scouts. He's, pretty much in captivity here, right? By the MPs. And he still has like almost like an ace up his sleeve, or his noodle sleeve.
My man basically got promoted to citizen and was like, I still have control of the situation.
Yeah.
Even with a missing arm.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Eddie, he's chiming in saying, I always felt like Niall and Commander Irvin began as two sides of the same coin and just got closer and closer. Yeah. So this is cool because we have just been informed that they both were in the same cadet class. They went through the same training, right? And as Eddie mentioned, that they just kind of,
the
same coin, but same coin, but it's like they had their different, their different paths. But yeah, so
old buddies, old war buddies.
This is very interesting because, and we'll talk about that council a little bit and speculate a little bit, but in terms of Niall Doc and Irvin Smith, there's history there. Irvin is aware of, I want to say he's kind of aware of just like Niall and his, his morals, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that Irvin's trying to, in a very sneaky way, get some sort of answers, right? But obviously Niall, he's not giving away anything. But then it's kind of like, all right, since you're not giving me anything, I'm going to go ahead and try to give you a little something. Yeah. So that you know that, hey, I still have something planned. You think I have nothing, right?
But there's something.
I still have something. and then you can see even Niall's just like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you going to do? And how many times do you think he's asked Irvin that?
I feel like that's like a back in the day, like when they were in training, like Irvin would be like, I have an idea. And now just be like.
Niall's always that guy like, hold on, Irvin, hold on.
What are you going to get me
into? Don't do it. Hold on.
Whatever you're thinking.
Yeah.
Explain it first. Don't just drag me in.
Yeah. And very cool. True. We got Eddie chiming as well, saying as fate would have it that they both became commanders of a regiment. Yes, again, just a testament to their hard work, the different paths we talked about. And then SB also chiming in saying I think that they were friends as cadets. Yeah,
I don't doubt it.
We see that they have that kind of that old kind of ally type. Like
I feel like they had like a Jean and Aaron relationship.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's an excellent example to go ahead and use because I mean. Despite all the different weird arguments that, Aaron and John have had, I mean, we see that they had each other's backs, when it came to like, them being both cadets and stuff. We understand that they are in the same regiment, but for that example, if John had went to the MPs, right, and say Aaron is a scout, and say they did climb up the ranks, and say Aaron never became a Titan user, right? Say, as fate has it, that, his trajectory was completely different, He wasn't poisoned with all the crazy memories and stuff, But
the voices
we know that Aaron had that drive to go ahead and just, prove everybody wrong, that he was going to go ahead and become a scout and say, again, X amount of years later, we have Jean somehow as the commander of the MPs and Aaron is the commander of the scouts. That I think that's a great example. I think that they would have that same kind of weird...
That same kind of interaction, that weird chemistry.
That same weird chemistry. And
the thing about their conversation, too, is they know each other enough to the point where they're like... they know how to kind of like pick at each other's brains and not how to fall for each other's little like verbal ploys to get information. So they all both kept their guard up very well where they were like, I'm not going to give you anything and you're not going to give me anything. Like...
Yeah.
This conversation isn't going to go anywhere. And then Erwin's like, but I have something. I won't tell you what it is, but I've got something. It's there in the back. It's in the back of my head, but. I won't share it.
And it's almost like
I just want you to have paranoia.
It's definitely a warning, you know? And yeah. So it's cool to go ahead and kind of get some more insight.
Freak out a little bit.
Yeah. He wants him to kind of shake in his boots.
Shiver me timbers.
And also just kind of like, hey, you know, I understand that, you know, kind of like you've been up to some stuff, but I've been prepared, you know? And, you know, we talk about how reckless Irvin can be, right? When it comes to executing
reckless?
the plan, right? I mean, the guy's missing an arm, for crying out loud. So
I was going to say, my soldiers rage, my soldiers fight. Yeah. Reckless? Yes.
Hold on real quick. I got to go ahead and try to focus myself if I can.
Just throw a shoe at it.
Yeah. For anybody who wants to virtually give me high fives right now is your chance.
Thank you, Eddie. Eddie told me well worded.
Yeah. Very well worded. High five, y'all. High five, y'all. There we go. All right. So now let's kind of talk about, again, we're getting just we're seeing just the beginnings here of what is this council, right? We see that again, that they're aware of the plan to go ahead and steal Eren and to steal Historia.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Rice again is involved. We were introduced to Rod Rice very, very early, and he tells us that they've captured Eren and Historia. But the last we saw, that unfortunately they were both like tranquilized with this like sleeping dart, so they're asleep,
KO'd.
Yeah, and but they were still in the wagon. So okay, some foreshadowing there. But yeah, so there's kind of something I'm missing here with this charter of humanity, right? Is that what's something that one of the members says?
Which part?
They're talking about Eren and Historia, right? Talking about how, you know, pretty much their actions against the Scout Regiment will be for nothing.
From Nick.
And yeah. It's another important thing is that obviously they are in the know about the plan to go ahead and pretty much assassinate Pastor Nick.
Yeah.
You know? Who's to say that this member that we see, this guy who is in that same kind of, you know, church attire that Pastor Nick was in, who's to say that he wasn't the second in line, and now that Pastor Nick is now out of the way, that he is kind of like the one overseeing the church.
Charge, yeah.
Right? So let's say they have, you know, the top member of the church in this council. They have another kind of top member of something else, you know, and it's like maybe these four members are all important figures in some sort of kind of like a branch, you know?
Yeah.
So they're trying to kind of, you know, cover all, you know, ways and whatnot and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was another interesting thing, right? Is
I think what catches my attention is when they're like, whatever information they gathered is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what they're trying to learn. Like, we're just gonna deal with it. Like, we'll get it done. Like, we'll follow the law as the law dictates, as they say.
Yeah, exactly, right? And when we got people who are trying to literally be the law.
Yeah, like they think they're in charge, and I'm like,
Yeah. So, it's very, very weird, but
killing Pastor Nick, hiring a gun, or hiring like a hitman, is that really what the law dictates? Kind of contradictory, if you ask me.
I'm trying to remember why there's such a sudden change in leadership. Like, why are they trying to get involved now? What happened to the previous king or whoever the ruler was? Were we even ever aware of who the person kind of overseeing, you know, like...
I don't think we were ever truly informed on it. Like, what I always assumed was, with how things were handled with Irwin and the Beast Titan and all of that had just recently happened, it just kind of made sense for the idea of new leadership to come into play.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense where it's like, because as these events are unfolding for us viewers in like episode chronological order, that, you know, if these were actual people, like these are events that are happening on the daily even sometimes hours. So everything's happening so quickly that maybe the powers that be decide that we need to take matters into our own hands. We need to assure,
it's about time we step in because things are getting out of hand.
Yeah, and so now you have the corrupted individuals who have powers are trying to go ahead and do what's best for them and trying to assure their safety and stuff, and take the measures that they feel like they need to do to control the powers that be, right? Potential threats, that being, maybe, a Titan user, an Eren Yeager. And then, as word started really going around about this girl who has an actual important lineage to her, right? That, oh shoot, we need to assure that we have her in captivity too.
We keep her safe and close.
So maybe that's what this is happening now, is that the powers that be, they're trying to take action to assure that they remain in control, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that does make sense, unfortunately, but hey, that's politics for you.
So fun.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's continue on with the episode. Let's see what the hell happened to John. So now we turn to our new Levi squad as we see Mikasa and Armin. They're on a rooftop in Trost. Armin, however, appears to be sick to his stomach as we see him just like gagging. And Armin, he's now breathing heavy, almost as if like he's going to have like a panic attack. And we see Mikasa watching very closely over him. And then Armin asks Mikasa, "Was it like this for you?" And then Mikasa now notices tears in Armin's eyes. Armin wipes the tears from his eyes and says, "I'm sorry." But then Mikasa assures him, "It's okay." Then Armin again says, "I'm sorry. And then Armin pauses, and then we go back to how that last episode ended. We hear a gunshot, and we see blood splatter into the air. But then we see a frozen Jean staring at that member of Kenny's squad. That member drop. And then Jean then sees Armin standing on the other side holding a gun that was pointed directly at that member of Kenny's squad. The body drops and falls out of the wagon. And Captain Levi notices that the wagon is now free of Kenny's squad. And Levi makes his way back to the wagon, but unfortunately, he sees reinforcements are on their way to that wagon. Levi, he yells out to warn, "Shit! Armin! John!" And the reinforcements, they point their guns, and John, we see, is still frozen. He doesn't move, but he's saved by Mikasa, by her grabbing Jean out of the wagon, and they escape using their ODM gear. Armin, we see, he's controlling the wagon. He looks back and he notices the reinforcements. But just before the reinforcements can connect with Armin, Sasha quickly saves Armin by doing the same, escaping on ODM gear. The reinforcements land on the wagon and escape with Eren and Historia. We see Mikasa becoming overwhelmed with rage, but just before she can go recklessly after them, Levi stops her. "Let them go! We're running on fumes." Mikasa, seeing red, she tries to fight off the captain, but Levi will not let her go. The only thing Mikasa can do, as she watches the wagon going further and further, is to scream out Eren's name. And then Eren's name echoes through Trost. Wow. So we see what ended up happening in that cliffhanger, that Jean survived because Armin had to go ahead and take matters into his own hands.
Decision. He
had to go ahead. Line. Yes, he crossed that line. Yes, that's another great way to put it. And we see that Armin killed that member of Kenny's squad, right? But we also saw that Armin was literally sick to his stomach doing that.
He was literally throwing up.
Yeah. And, he tries to ask Mikasa, if that's what it's like for you. And Mikasa doesn't answer, Mm-hmm. And again, this is something that's weighing heavy on Armin, but we also are going to see that this is going to weigh heavy on John. As John literally, it's like during this whole sequence, he doesn't move.
Yeah, he's just helpless.
He's literally
a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, deer in the headlights, not moving. You know, he wasn't moving once he was in that situation to begin with, when that member has that gun pointed at him. And then when that member is killed, still doesn't move.
He's in pure shock.
He literally is still just like almost trying to process all that's happening. He doesn't even know what he's feeling. He just knows that he has this weird kind of, moral compass that what is happening, what he's supposed to do isn't right. But then as things are happening so quickly, it's just way too much to process, right?
Yeah.
But then again, in a moment where it's like, if he didn't do anything, he would have died, a second time, because the reinforcements arrive. And, Mikasa saves Jean, and Sasha's able to save Armin, who tries to take control of that wagon.
Yeah. And I've got a couple things to say about this little segment. So one.
Yeah.
In terms of Armin saying, I'm sorry, I think there are 3 reasons why he could be saying, I'm sorry, and it never gets elaborated on. So I wanted to ask you what you think it is.
I'm thinking of one.
So.
And it has to do with Eren.
Oh, I wasn't even. There's 4 now.
There's 4. Okay. I'm interested to find out what the 3 are, because I'm thinking that he's trying to, unfortunately,
not saving Eren.
Yeah, take
obvious reason 1.
He's feeling that responsibility for Eren,
for failing because of not saving Eren.
Yeah, because we see that he was in control of that wagon. He was trying to go ahead and escape the reinforcements, but it was too late. And again, these reinforcements, we talked about it. I mean, these members of Kenny's squad, I mean, they are a force to reckon with, right? So. That's
reason 1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I've got 3 more.
Okay, yeah, let's hear them.
I think it could be either 1. He feels like he may have overstepped a boundary when asking Mikasa, was it like this for you?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
And he's apologizing to her.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry for asking that question, because it probably
that was out of line. Like
it could bring up some old feelings, right?
Yeah. And then the other one of the other.
You know what? Whoa. That is a great point, because the first time Mikasa goes through that experience, when she's that little girl and she goes and she has to stab
and save Eren
literally that freaking the pretty much the human traffickers, right? And stabs him literally through the heart from like his back, right? So it was, again, red moment, right? And then again, that's a great point, that maybe Armin is apologizing because he's aware of how that affected her, and that's something that weighed heavy on her, right? And
it's not really,
and that was the first time that she had to kill somebody.
Yeah, that was her first exposure to it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
My number 2, so number 3 would be, he could be saying sorry to the woman that he killed.
Yeah, in some kind of way where, okay.
He just feels so much remorse from it that he's just apologizing for that. Then my 3rd one, but the 4th one is apologizing for him feeling like he's showing weakness by reacting this way.
Yeah, these are all great reasons.
So I never
They're
understood.
all very valid too.
Yeah, I never understood why he was saying sorry, but those are the 3 that I came up with. But I guess I feel like the most obvious one would be him saying sorry to me for not saving Eren.
Yeah.
I think it's either that one or...
I feel like it's more obvious for that second one, where it's like...
where he's apologizing to me, I shouldn't have asked you that question.
Yeah.
So that's what went through my head when I heard that for the first time. I was like, well, he could be saying it for X, Y, or Z reason.
Eddie, I like it. Yeah, Eddie's doing some foreshadowing, right? He says...
exactly.
Because he brings it up later. He says...
That's why I also
something that we're going to cover.
That's why I also thought it was him saying sorry to her.
Yeah,
to the woman that he shot.
Yeah. Because we're going to go ahead and kind of dissect that moment a little bit more in that next scene we're going to talk about, right?
Then the other thought I had was, and this was just me being nitpicky, why didn't they just destroy the wagon so they couldn't take away Eren and Historia?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you
either
then.
Cut the horses out or literally break the wheels off.
Okay. So pretty much, detach the horses or go ahead and take out the wheels. Okay. I was going to ask you how would they have done that in kind of, quick fashion?
Or even just literally just use your ODM gear and rip the wagon apart so they can't. If they wanted to take Historia and Eren, they'd have to do it by hand.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a lot more difficult. And then Levi says they're low on fuel. Well, if they no longer have transportation, then they're probably also low on fuel.
Yeah.
And it would be easier to manage, where if they run out of fuel, so will Levi and everyone will run out of fuel at the same time.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier to retrieve Eren and Historia. But
yeah, it's only tricky for that. Yeah,
plot. I know
for plot for sure, but also it'd be tricky too, because it's the reason why these reinforcements are after them is because of Eren and Historia. So if you go ahead and you continue to save Eren and Historia, these reinforcements are not going to stop, So it's like they're not going to have any kind of room to go and even breathe, and let alone just, have to continue to try to escape this squad, because one, you have now Armin, who is, kind of emotional. You have Jean who's still frozen, shock. Right? So it's like, I feel like you can only protect them for so long. So it does, unfortunately, plot is kind of in a way,
probably just puts them in
ensuring that
a bigger mess than
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Unfortunately, if you don't do it, you lose, two important pieces of
I
your
guess
squad.
Sometimes it's better to tactical retreat.
Yeah, and then kind of regroup, right?
Yeah.
I do have to mention that SB, she's chiming in saying, great insight, Zach. She goes, I always assumed that he apologized for seeming weak by being sick to his stomach.
See, that was one reason, too. Like, it could be any of them, in all honesty, but I feel like...
Yeah, they all make sense.
They all make sense, but I feel like it's most likely either not saving Eren or apologizing for asking that question to Mikasa.
Yeah, because I even kind of forget. I mean, it's such an important, impactful moment in Mikasa's life, right? It's the reason why she is what she is now. And again, it's because Eren saved her when she was kidnapped, but then she had to go ahead and save Eren, and it's a moment where we see that she also hesitates, but then something clicked.
Compels her, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she channels that, like, she unlocks that inner strength that these Ackermans have.
She unlocks that Ackerman Super Saiyan mode.
That, they really kind of over exaggerate that sensation where she literally, it shows like her feet are just like they drive through like the wooden board and stuff, right?
Break it up.
And then she goes and she murders that person and she kills somebody. Yeah. And then she goes and she kills somebody for the first time. So that's, for you to bring up that point, it just, again, it is important because it's an important detail to remember that Mikasa, when she killed the first person, that is a very important moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, all those incredible insights you had, Zach, they're all valid. They all make sense.
They all make sense. It's just, we'll never truly know which one it was.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the creator wants to tell us.
Yeah, unless we're very particular with we have any questions to ask, and this is the one question.
Panel, we have
So season 3, episode 2.
Yeah, hold up. Let me pull out my notebook of questions.
Season 3, episode 2, Pain. And there's a moment where Armin is apologizing to Mikasa.
And he says, I'm sorry, like, literally.
Can you please explain?
7, 8 times. Like, I don't know if you caught that, but he says, I'm sorry, like 6, 7 times as it fades away. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So maybe each sorry is because of all those different all those different reasons. Maybe Armin was filling every single one of them. Yeah,
he's like, the reason why is because I know Armin's Armin is brain.
Yeah, yeah, he's very logical, but he's also
all these different things at once.
He cares.
Like, he's like, I did all these things, and killing her caused all of these things.
Yeah.
So like, I have to repent for each one of them.
Yeah. Well, even with I believe the username was like Anime Darling or something, but yeah, she even mentioned that with John having a heart, So it's like we understand that
Anime Darling.
Armin definitely has a heart, know?
100%.
So he has a big heart.
That's why.
So
I was gonna say, I don't know this. He has no ears, but you know what I mean by that. This is why he has no ears. 'Cause he has a heart.
What do you mean by that?
Big boom man.
Oh,
no ears.
Okay. So that, in terms of no ears, that is like way down the line. Yeah. Because he doesn't want to hear what's happening.
So we know he has a heart.
Yeah, that's a very important detail too to realize later on down the line. That,
I mean, you could argue both ways with that, but
but we also see for him that he doesn't transform. He tries to avoid all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, Armin definitely has a big heart.
One of the biggest in the show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Sorry, I'm on tangent mode. The Taco Bell meme where they're fighting the dong.
When they go ahead, they kind of like they hear the bell and they like leave when that person leaves.
No, it's a meme. When him.
I'm thinking of commercials because commercials.
When they're
like
fighting him, Eren, Mikasa. And then there's the meme edit where he gets hit and it's the Taco Bell. Dong.
Oh, you've showed me this.
Yes.
Yeah, but remind me again about.
Big heart.
Remind me again about like what's the significance of the Taco Bell?
Because I don't know.
Is it just the sound effect?
The sound effect, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's when Eren like gut punches in.
Yeah.
Then it's just the Taco Bell, and it's like got the reverb and it's like distorted.
Okay.
Like even then, that scene, I don't know why that came up in my head, but that scene is still Armin having a heart. Like that's where that whole argument is coming from, is Armin's
because
big heart.
of what Eren is telling Mikasa.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, definitely. I mean, Armin, I mean, it's those three, they've experienced so much as a group. They've endured so much as a group. So when you have a member of the group now, you know, pretty much trying to
disgrace everything that's happened,
tear apart, you know, emotionally one of those members of your group. It's like, damn, what the hell's going on here? So yeah, you know, Armin, you know, we know Armin. I mean, Armin's my favorite character.
I love my boy Armin.
So
he do right.
Yeah. Alrighty. So now we're gonna go ahead and continue on with this episode. We still have a little bit to cover, but yeah. So now continuing, we go back to Armin, thinking about what he's done. And we see that Levi and his squad, they're now safe. They're hidden away in some warehouse. Levi, observing Armin, asks him, "What's wrong? Did all this filth kill your appetite?" And then Armin responds, "No." And then Armin now asks, "John, there's something I don't understand." And we see an ashamed John responds,
"What's that?"
And then Armin asks, "When I turned around to try to save you, that woman already had her gun to your head. It's funny. How could I have shot before she did?" And then we see Jean struggling as he relives that moment in his head. Jean can see that woman, a member of Kenny's squad, also hesitating as she points her gun at Jean. Jean just whispers,
"I don't know."
And then Levi answers for Jean, "You shot first because she hesitated. It's simple." But then Jean now tells Armin,
"I'm sorry, Armin. You wouldn't have had to save me if I'd just done my job."
And then Armin responds, "I know what it is. The woman I shot back there, I bet she was a really kind person. She must have had a lot more human empathy than I ever did. I pulled that trigger so easily, without a thought. I'm..." Then Levi finishes the sentence, "a killer. And now that your hands have been soaked in blood, the person you once were is gone for good." And then an upset Mikasa tells Captain Levi, "Why would you say that?" Then Levi continues, "And you shouldn't regret it for 1 second. Because if you'd chosen to keep your hands clean, Jean would be a corpse on a cart right now." And then the warehouse is dead silent. And we can see that this is the same warehouse where they took a disguised Jean and Armin. Because we see our Mr. Merchant Man all tied up in a corner with cloth around his mouth. Levi continues to tell Armin, as we stare at Armin's empty eyes, "I'll tell you why you pulled the trigger. Because your comrade was about to die. Armin, everyone on our squad survived today because you got blood on your hands. Thank you." And we see Armin, he cracks a tiny smile as he looks at the captain. Jean, however, he's still looking down, ashamed. Now Jean, he now decides to say, trying to find where you are.
Ooh, so Captain Levi, I thought it was wrong for us to fight other humans, sir. I thought I was wrong that you'd order us to do it. I mean, we became soldiers to protect people. But now, I see that I was in the wrong, sir. Next time, I swear I'll shoot."
Then Captain Levi tells Jean, "I never said anything about what was right or wrong. My moral high ground shot to hell. I have no idea who's in the right at this point." And we see Jean, he's surprised by Levi's response. "Now then, I think it's time we heard about what our guest has to say." And Levi now walks over, and we see him standing over Mr. Reeves. Levi takes that cloth off around his mouth, and Mr. Reeves immediately begs, "Mercy, please. I'm just an old man they use to move cargo. I don't want to, but they..." And then Mikasa interrupts as she menacingly says, I've seen this one before. And then Mikasa recalls her first encounter with Mr. Reeves. He seemed to be a prominent merchant. Then Levi tells Mikasa, yeah, I know him. Demo Reeves, is that correct? And then Demo, he tells Mikasa and Levi, this damn job was forced on us by the military police. And now that we completely botched it, they'll plunder the Reeves company for everything it's worth. First they'll kill me, and then they'll set up accidents for all my employees. My dumb son, too. Who we see Flagel on the other side of the warehouse tied up. Right? But then Levi... Flagel. Yeah, we love Flagel. And Levi asked Demo, you just gonna lay down and take it? There's a reason Tross recovered from that Titan attack. It's largely because of jobs and money brought in by the Reeves company. Tell me, if your company were to disappear, how many would survive the coming winter? And then Demo responds to Levi, so what? You want me to join you? And Levi explains, we just need to know where Eren and Historia are. If you're in contact with the MPs, I think I have a plan. Then Demo asks, and can you give your word that the people of Tross won't end up starving to death? Levi answers, I can't guarantee it. But that said, I believe they'll have a better chance with us than without. And then Demo just stares at Captain Levi as he thinks about it. All right. Ooh. Yeah, Eddie saying, cold, my dumb son. Poor Flagel. We don't appreciate the Flagel slander.
Poor Flagel, bro.
Yeah.
It's so much bashing for no reason.
Well, we see too that Flagel doesn't even want to be in this situation to begin with because, the first time we see Demo and his son Flagel, like as they enter this warehouse, I mean, Demo looks like he's just, all about business, whatever. But then Flagel literally is just like looking around the warehouse. You tell he's nervous and scared.
He's like, why am I here?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Flagel is a victim of circumstance right now. But yeah, I don't think it's good for him to not even want to be there, let alone he hears his own dad saying, oh, they're going to kill me off. They're going to set up accidents for my workers and my dumb son too. It's like damn, bro.
This, bro.
Yeah.
How am I dumb when you brought me into this?
Yeah.
Well, you roped me into this. Well, he roped me into this.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about this little part here because
a lot here.
Something to talk about too is that added morality of realizing that member of Kenny's squad, that woman, you can tell she didn't want to kill Jean. That's why she hesitated, right? Yeah. And that's something actually that I believe was it Jelly was in our responses talked about and actually referenced this moment.
Yes.
Right? Where it's like...
Yeah, she said the woman also hesitated. I like to believe because she knew he was a kid.
Yeah, and then that's another thing too. We forget that these are kids.
Yeah, they're still teens.
Like they're still they're teens. I mean, we understand that the traders. I mean, they were a little bit older, but like for a lot of these characters, I mean, we're looking at what maybe 15 years old at the oldest at this time. Like, it's
like they really are just like too young to really be exposed to this. Like even in like U.S. standards, like they're not even old enough to go to the military yet.
Yeah, they're not old enough to go ahead and to try to enroll in the military.
But it's just crazy too to hear Levi talk about like he's like, oh, my own moral compass is like screwed.
Yeah,
like you can't take my morality seriously because my morality is non-existent.
Yeah, he doesn't have morality anymore.
Levi's like, I've been put through the gutter 10 times over, so I don't know right from wrong if I wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing that's important too is the fact that we see Jean. He's kind of now dealing with the repercussions that being how he's feeling, his emotions, and he understands what he did was wrong, right? And he tries to apologize to Captain Levi, but Captain Levi himself says, "I never said pretty much what you did was wrong. Yeah. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, right? What's important is that pretty much what Armin did ensured the safety of our members, right? And, he said it's because Armin, got blood on his hands, right?
Yeah.
And
right or wrong is up to the person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course there's basic morals, but when it comes to something like this, like right or wrong is up to each individual person. Like even Levi's like, I couldn't be mad at you if you didn't want to kill another human being.
Yeah.
And like this is also like after Levi's realized like, hey, I might have been killing humans this whole time.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, something we mentioned. Yeah, and we saw how he kind of accepted those news. That news is it really, you could tell it shocked him to his core a little bit, right? Because again, his morality is his moral compass here. It's shot, and then that's another thing to kind of just again, like continue to break away at that moral compass. You know, is oh shoot, I've been killing humans this entire time.
And he's like, well, now I feel even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But But
exactly, Eddie. Yeah, it's easy to forget that these are child soldiers. Definitely. Can you imagine the ones that are training to become Titan warriors? I mean, they're even younger.
Yeah, you know? They're literally like not even a decade old yet.
Yeah, and that's even crazier, right? But we also see here that Jean, I mean, he wants to learn from this experience because he understands that he was given a second chance here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he got
lucky.
They've already escaped death so many times, right? But this is another moment here where I felt like this is even going to kind of stick with him even more, is the fact that like, man, you know, it's different when it's like, we talked about it when it involves Titans, right? Like, I like, damn, I got so lucky for surviving. But then when you have a person who literally is pointing the gun right at your face and you somehow avoid death, that's going to be a moment that's really kind of...
It's impactful, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to impact him.
And it's even more impactful that now one of your close friends had to kill for you.
Yeah.
And then you got saved again by your friends.
Yeah.
Not even 10, 15 seconds later.
Literally, yeah, exactly.
Like you were spared from death, not once, but twice, not from Titans, but from humans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a slippery slope when it comes to just like what the new orders are and stuff, you know, and how we've talked about how things are changing so quickly, right? Mm-hmm. What's the task? Who's the enemy? What's the objective? What's the goal? What are we even doing? Like what? Because John even mentions like he joined us because he was protecting people from Titans, right? But then, you know, again, he now always wants to learn from this and he wants to say that, you know, he's apologizing to Armin.
Yeah.
But then he also is letting the captain know that like, let's see if I can find.
I will improve. Like, I won't hesitate again.
Yeah, he goes, oh yeah, I thought it was wrong for you to order that, to order us to do it. Mm-hmm. You became soldiers to protect people. Now I see that I was in the wrong. Next time, I swear I'll shoot. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because it's easy to say words, but when you
have to actually do it and you're put in that situation, it's a whole different ball game.
So we'll see, you know, Jean, we understand the character development that Jean, you know, goes through. And this is another moment that's going to, you know, kind of just impact Jean. We've talked about this moment and how impactful it is. We've seen other moments and how impactful they are to Jean, you know, one of them being, you know, Marco's death, right? But this is just kind of like, unfortunately, you know, you're stacking those impactful moments that these kids are experiencing.
And how many is it going to take for you to get to your breaking point where morality just flies out the window and you're just like,
and then you're like Captain Levi,
and then you're just like, kill or be killed.
Yeah, you know, it's such a slippery slope. But yeah, I think that's a great point. It's like, at what point are these kids, or, you know, at what point are these soldiers going to get to that point where they know, they understand kill or be killed. And then we saw how the mentality Captain Levi has. I mean, he killed so many of those squad members without a second thought, you know?
Yeah.
Because he had to. I mean, he would have died.
He's like,
you know?
Kill or be killed. That's all it is for Levi.
Yeah.
That's just as simply as you can say it. Levi's whole mindset is just kill or be killed. Which one do I want? I'd rather kill.
Yeah. So it's tricky to see, you know, these characters dealing with the repercussions of the effects of, you know, the war or whatever. But then, you know, we go ahead and we get kind of an idea a little bit of why this merchant man, Demo Reeves, is involved, right? And I guess what's interesting to me is that the fact that he cares about the people in his town. Yeah. You know, like, it's important for him that his people don't starve, right? He wants to essentially, you know, be assured by Captain Levi, and hey, if I kind of go along with this, just ensure that my people are safe.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't expect that from him, but I guess in terms of like money and stuff, it's like he needs people in order to keep his business alive.
His greed, where he's like, if I lose customers, I lose my fortune. So keep my customers happy, and then I'll get you what you need.
Yeah, because again, he obviously the thing that he cares about the most is the Reeves company, because that's the first thing he kind of mentions is like, oh man, like because we botched this whole thing, that the Reeves company is now just gonna, what does he say?
Flames.
Yeah, it's gonna plunder for everything it's worth, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, we understand that is his primary focus.
Is number one. Over
it's not Flagle. Yeah, it's not Flagle. Yeah, it seems like Flagle's way down there on the priority list.
It's you, the dirt, the worms in the dirt.
Yeah,
Reeves Incorporated, then Flagle.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but in terms of definitely it's Demo's life, it's Demo's company, and then a bunch of stuff in between before we even get to Flagle. Yeah, that's too bad. But Flagle is going to go through that glow up for sure. But for now, Flagle is still a scared child. Yeah.
Flagle is just Flagle for now.
Yeah. But we'll see how this plan goes. Pretty much, Captain Levi is aware that he needs Demo Reeves to be on board because Demo obviously knows more than he's letting up, right? I mean, we don't know to the extent of what they told him. We just know that maybe he's aware of where they're taking Aaron and Historia.
Yeah.
Right? And so it sounds like Levi said he has a plan. He says, I think I have a plan.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, you know who does have a plan?
I know early on in this episode,
Mr. Irvin.
Yeah, it was Irvin. He said he has a gamble.
I got something up my sleeve.
Yeah.
In reality, he's probably just saying, Levi's alive.
Yeah. Levi's the ace. And
Levi, he's like, I have something up my sleeve. In reality, he's like, Levi better pull something out of his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll see.
Exciting.
Well, now the last part here, as we finish breaking down this episode, we see Nile Doc, and very quickly, SB saying, sorry guys, but I have to cut out early tonight. Thanks for the great discussion, and we'll see you next week. Nice to have you back, Zach. Have a great week, guys. SB,
it's good to be back.
Thank you so much, SB, for you again joining us, taking the time out of your day to go ahead and just talk AOT with us and join us here live. We'll definitely see you next week. Thank you again so much for your support, SB. We hope that you have a great week too, and we'll see you next week.
Enjoy your week.
All right. So now again, we get to a close this episode here. This last part of this breakdown.
Let's get it.
We see Nile. Right, he's entering a carriage, and then his carriage leaves. As we can see in a nearby building, looking through a window, we see Hanji and Moblet keeping a close eye. Hanji says, "About time the bastard left." And then Hanji now storms into Irvin's room in a panic, saying, "Our situation just got worse. I have 2 things to report, Commander. First, Aaron and Historia have been abducted by the enemy." She goes, 3 from my squad were killed in the fight. I'm about to meet Captain Levi, follow up on a lead he might have as to their current whereabouts. And Irvin responds, "Understood. What else?" And then Hanji then takes a note that she had hidden away. She takes it out. Aaron remembered a conversation he overheard between Ymir and Bertold. But if this is actually true, then shit. I feel like my head's gonna explode. And then we see Irvin, he pours a glass of water. And then a worried Moblet asks Hanji,
"Are you okay?"
My bad. And then Irvin hands the glass of water to Hanji and asks, "What's the problem?" And Hanji quickly takes the glass out of Irvin's hand and she begins chugging the water. And Hanji finishes the water and then she sternly continues to report, "Unless we recover him quickly, Aaron will be devoured." To be continued. Wow. So, I want to ask you, Zach.
Yes, sir.
Is this kind of like the first time? I don't think it is, but like they are fully aware that the Titan ability is kind of transferred through eating the previous user?
I think this is the first scenario where it's like they've known it, but this is the first scenario where like it's actually implemented into the story.
Okay.
Because like we hear like in the past when like Annie's carrying him in, carrying Aaron in her mouth. Like I'm pretty sure at some point like we've overheard like even like Raina and Berto be like, "Don't swallow."
Yeah.
Like please don't swallow.
Yeah. But I guess like let me kind of reword the question here, where it's like for these people who are living in the island of parody who are just realizing, right, that they're really learning the Titan abilities, right?
Yeah.
Is this the first time they're kind of aware?
Yeah, for the people of the island of parody, this is like their first time where they're like, "Oh, you have to eat him."
Yeah, because prior to all past moments we've had where they want to capture Aaron, it's like it's not about eating him and taking his power. They want to dissect him.
Yeah.
They want to go ahead and kind of and I don't even know if you can do that I don't even know if you can dissect a Titan user while they're still alive, because I would imagine that
they just keep healing.
Yeah. They just keep healing and they'll get pissed off to a point where they're just going to go and transform, and then everybody's SOL but yeah.
Like,
so
you want to cut me open? Okay, congrats.
Yeah. Or you just keep playing with them if you have like actual control over your power. You're every time they go in, they slice open, you just see it instantly heal. And then they'll be like, "Stop doing that."
Well, I mean, if you do it enough to the point where like, cause I mean, we've seen it where Aaron's got his little nubs. Like,
oh yeah.
If you can exhaust them to that point, then yeah, you probably could, but you wouldn't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have to be very quick with your dissecting, and just keep them in that state of like constant recovery.
Yeah.
And even then, the recovery will eventually slow down to the point where it's like very, like molasses in a sense, where it's super slow recovery.
And even with Aaron, I mean, he has trouble. He doesn't have a full grasp and control over his abilities, because we see that there's times where he can't even transform into a full Titan. We see that there's times where he struggles with healing his body.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean,
and then we get to season 4 where we see times where he regrows entire limbs.
Yeah, where literally Aaron has full control over his abilities.
But even that right there goes to show, like, I mean, if the Titan wielder so chooses, like, they can dissect on him if he allows it, or she. Mm-hmm. If he or she allows it, like, they can 100% dissect on them. But it has to be, like, the willingness of the wielder.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of trust, too.
Yeah.
I mean, for like he would probably let Hanji do it, but even then, Hanji's kind of a loose cannon, too.
Yeah, I'd be like, stay away from the brain.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of curious in this moment if this is the first time, like, people who are kind of still learning, the Titan abilities, that, like, oh, shoot, they're going to eat Aaron, right? And, I mean, Hanji doesn't even really explain, like they're going to eat him and take his powers. She just says that unless we recover Aaron, they're going to devour him.
Yeah, they're just going to consume him.
So, yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know. I mean, she obviously has her sources as well and stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this is another time where we get reference to this conversation that Aaron overheard with Ymir and with Bertold. But yeah, this is an interesting part 2 of our discussion here, because again, we're kind of continuing to see important, impactful details that are kind of set up certain things in season 3. I mean, again, this is going to be a big focus on.
I'm getting ready. I think there are some really big moments in the season that I get super excited for.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I just can't wait for it.
Yeah, and it's like we're kind of like setting up those moments, and unfortunately, setting it up in terms of like, we talked about character development, right? Some of these characters are going to have to go through a little bit of hell, right? And learn about kind of truths and stuff, right? And they're going to have to, unfortunately,
kind of walk through the fire,
harden themselves a little bit, and go through that.
Callous.
Yeah, they're going to have to go through all that to be able to compete with, certain characters down the line. Mm-hmm. But also, we're going to go ahead and continue to learn what the hell is happening with that, with the Charter of Humanity, that council. We know that there's some funny business happening there. Obviously, Kenny and the squad are still around. And yeah, so the Levi squad, they obviously need to go ahead and find out where Aaron and Historia are.
Oh, it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, next week we'll go ahead and we'll get to our final little conclusion of episode 2. Again, these episodes, I mean, yeah, we're stretching out the content so we can go ahead and kind of, continue talking about some AOT, but also, as I mentioned, that there is a lot of different details.
Yeah, like with the little bit that we had from this episode, we still were able to push a lot of time out of it.
Right now, we're already hour and a half into, our discussion here. Can you imagine if we still had all the rest
we had the other half? Because what if I remember correctly, the intermission started at 11 out of the 24 minutes in the episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and this, I think, is only this is pretty much all that we just talked about. I believe is up to the 17-minute mark or something like that. And we still have, the culmination of it.
Another 7-8 minutes.
Yeah. So again, it's just they're giving us a lot of different little building pieces here.
So much juice.
But yeah, I mean,
content.
We'll go ahead and we'll kind of get into our final thoughts here as we are getting to our close, guys. Thank you for people who are still sticking around and watching us. But yeah, this, I don't know. It's we're really, I feel like in terms of how season 1 and season 2 are, and finding out who the kind of bad guys are, right? Who the villains are, the antagonists. I mean, it was kind of, like you said early in this podcast, very black and white. It pretty much was like, oh, Titan user, you are bad. But then the exception was Eren,
Yeah.
And then obviously you had Ymir, and it's kind of like, okay, we don't know where Ymir stands, and that things are starting to get a little gray, a little bit, right?
Adding gray into it. Now it's just kind of like,
but now
everything is gray.
Yeah, everything's gray, and now we're getting characters who are very slimy, very corrupted. We talked about kind of now we're getting to a little bit of the politics of AOT here, and I feel like these characters. I could be very wrong, because obviously Titan users, Titan warriors are a force to be reckoned with. But it's these are almost the ones you have to really be
worried about
because they're not doing things right in front of your very eyes. They're trying to work
moving in the shadows.
You behind closed doors. They're trying to, do all these different things, that
they're crafty, they're sneaky.
And it's man, they're obviously connected with, again, some very sketchy individuals, with some bounty hunters we see with Kenny. Literally, Kenny came out of the shadows to go ahead and now involve himself with all this funny business, and it's what else do they have up their sleeves? At this point, I mean, the Levi squad, they don't even know who's orchestrating everything.
Yeah.
They just know that Kenny is working with the MPs. They don't know to the extent here. Levi still doesn't even understand why Kenny's working with the MPs, because Kenny has killed so many MPs. It's one thing he mentioned is that you've slit so many throats of MP officers.
And now here you are working side by side with them.
Yeah. It's what's the objective here? So yeah, Eddie chimed in and said, I really love how they brought back Demo, and great story planning. I love the way that he plays into all this jeopardy. It's really cool how we get to see some behind the scenes stuff too. Yeah, definitely. It's cool to go ahead and see Demo, because as I mentioned, certain details where it's okay, this guy, he cares a lot about money, he cares a lot about his company, but I mean, in a weird way, he still does care about the people in his town. Yeah. Maybe sees them just as dollar bills.
It's a little bit of an ass backwards way of looking at him, but at the end of the day, he's I rely on them. He's very aware of the fact that he needs them to survive and produce.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's very cool that we get to see Demo again. And because, we have seen him twice, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. There is obviously that important moment where, unfortunately that fool is holding up the only escape exit, right?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to literally load up. He has his entire market, his wagon filled to the freaking brim, and he's just trying to go ahead and escape, and he can't because there's too much stuff, right? That we see that moment, but I believe there is a
space.
Yeah. And then he probably paid those the bodyguard people to go ahead and try to keep people away, but also try to go ahead and push that damn wagon, and stuff. But
get it through, or else, it needs to. This all needs to survive.
And I believe there is one other time that we see him, and it's a very kind of brief moment, I believe, and it's kind of just like him being very snarky, I want to say, and kind of like, oh yeah, I remember you or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the moment is, but I want to say there's been 2 moments. And again, these moments happen so early on in the story. And so now to see him
you never
back,
really expect them to come back like that.
Yeah.
You expect to be like a little one-off side character, like, oh, merchant can't get his stuff through. Like, oh, that dude sucks.
Yeah.
And then here we are, season 3, and he's coming back, becoming a main character.
Yeah.
Like he's actually
becoming an
taking a
actual
major role.
important part of the story here and stuff. And we still don't know his complete involvement. We just know that he's important.
We don't know what his complete intentions are either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know that he can be swayed as long as it benefits him, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Scum.
So it's cool to go ahead and see Demo. Obviously, without Demo being brought back into the mix here, you know, we wouldn't have gotten Flagel, at least not in this, you know, capacity.
I don't know why I have such a love for Flagel.
Yeah, you know what's funny too is I was thinking that, you know, I think Zach's gonna go ahead and bring Flagel alive here in the podcast. I think you're gonna go ahead and voice Flagel. So I'm gonna give you time to go
life,
ahead,
baby.
Go ahead and work on your Flagel voice.
Spotless.
Yeah,
pristine.
And yeah. So Demo's back. We got to go ahead and can have him on the. Well, I guess you don't want to say the scout side because the scouts aren't even supposed to be a thing anymore. You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So it's cool to see Demo back. You know, it's always cool, like you mentioned, they bring back certain characters. You know who, you know, maybe you haven't seen in a while.
Everything always comes full circle.
Yeah.
There is nothing without meaning in this freaking series.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what makes it so freaking cool is that literally there's so much attention to detail. I mean, we've talked about it so many times. It's just everything is, whatever you see, it's there for a specific reason. So that's what's cool about it. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't the most action-packed episode, but there was a lot that we still covered. You know, a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of moments that are going to impact our characters going down the line as we talked about. So, but yeah. That was part 2 of our episode discussions. Thank you guys again so much for sticking around. And Zach, I want to go ahead and kind of update you. I know that Kyron didn't join us, but so
My son.
Kyron was feeling ill 2 weeks ago, right? He kind of popped in the podcast. Hey guys, want to pop in and say hi, but I'm just sorry guys, I've just been feeling ill and stuff, you know. And then he informs us last week that it turns out
I don't like where the story's going.
That turns out he was feeling sick because he randomly inherited the AttackOnTitan ability.
You had me all worried. I'd feel sick if I was a AttackOnTitan too.
You know what's weird is because we talked about it. I'm like, damn, you know what that means? That means that whoever was the previous AttackOnTitan owner just died off without giving away the Titan ability to somebody. Because, to our understanding,
aren't you lucky, Kyra?
that random kind of Titan power gets like somehow inherited to whoever it deems worthy, right? So
that's my boy. That's my boy.
But Kyron was bummed because, like, of course, I'm gonna get like the shittiest Titan. And we decided to go ahead and kind of like, you know, poke fun a little bit where it's like, damn, this guy's gonna be stuck on all fours, but you know, it's
gonna be crawling around.
It's like, bro,
like
he doesn't even get like the soldiers in the armor and stuff like that. He's just a AttackOnTitan, you know.
He's just bag boy, bro. It's okay.
But yeah, I mean, I was trying to make arguments for like, no, you're not the worst Titan. But then it seemed like the more I was trying to explain, the more I was like, damn, bro, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
You're like, yeah.
I
can't help you in that boat.
Yeah,
it's okay. You're cool in your own quadrupedal way.
Yeah. And so that's why, I wanted to go ahead and update you. So maybe that's why Kyron didn't join us here.
Yeah. No.
Maybe that's why Kyron didn't join us today is because, you know, he's still trying to deal with the effects of being the new AttackOnTitan. Maybe he's stuck in AttackOnTitan form, doesn't know how to transform back completely yet.
He's trying just to use his big freaking hand to like tap the computer.
Yeah. I mean,
it's okay, Kyron. Okay.
I'm pretty sure Kyron mentioned too. It's like, you know, the reason why he's aware that he became the AttackOnTitan because, you know, he's like, man, he suddenly woke up and he's like, damn, I feel better. Even though he had a weird night of just like having these kind of like fever dreams, almost like memories, somebody else's memories or something. I don't know. It was so very weird, right? But then he's like, okay, well, regardless, that was just a nightmare. I feel better. He goes, wow, I even feel, some would say, maybe stronger, right? So he goes, yo, I'm going to go to the gym. And then he went to the gym, and then I guess he must have overexerted himself because he just transformed into a Titan right then.
And blew up the gym. Kyron.
Yeah.
Kyron.
And then the
With
gym.
great power comes great response to
I'm surprised it wasn't on the news or anything. You know, I didn't see anything about it. You know, I know that Kyron, I believe.
This might be a touchy topic, but is that why the train derailed?
Oh, yeah. Well, that happened over in, I think Kyron's over in Louisiana, right? Did it happen in Louisiana?
No, it was Ohio?
Yeah, Ohio, right?
You're close enough.
Yeah.
I can see it.
But unless that's where his gym is. He lives in Louisiana, but he
drives
travels
all the way to Ohio just to go to the gym.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm surprised we didn't see anything about it in the news about this gym randomly exploding and stuff, you know. But yeah, so Kyron is now the cart Titan.
I wish you the best, Kyron. Yeah. Hey, at least if I ever need anything for transportation, you can just carry him.
Yeah, you can go ahead and give him a call.
I'll be your backpack.
You know, he'll go ahead and he'll travel he'll sprint all the way.
How long do you think it would take a cart Titan?
A cart Titan? That's a great question.
Louisiana to California.
Well, one thing that's good is that we learned that the cart Titan can stay in its cart form for literally days, right? Maybe even weeks, because with Peak, I mean, she has explained that, like, oh my God, like pretty much it's been so long since I've been human, right? It's
that like, it just feels normal to be on all fours.
But man, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
you have to do some math. Figure out the cart Titan's top speed.
Yeah.
Do some math.
I know, right? That's kind of an interesting question to see if you were to go ahead and kind of put these Titans to the test.
Put your guesses in the comment section below.
Yeah, let us know. How quickly do you think it would take Kyron to go ahead and travel from Louisiana to us here in California in his cart Titan form? But it's cool. Eddie's chiming in over here in chat saying that, oh, poor Kyron. I'm excited for him. He's been taking really good photos. And
yes, he has. Yes, he has.
Definitely. Unfortunately, those photos are all in human form. I want to see some cart Titan photos, but maybe once Kyron becomes more comfortable in his cart Titan form. Also, I don't know if maybe he's going to need some help with somebody to go ahead and take those photos for him, because he can't selfie it as a cart Titan. At least I don't think he could. Yeah. I don't think there's any selfies for cart Titans. But,
how fast?
But yeah, so...
It's a simple question, Google.
Well, it's a simple question, but a question that not a lot of people have been curious to ask, I guess. That just goes to show how exciting this cart Titan is. Not even a lot of people want to even know much about the cart Titan. But yeah.
I'm so intrigued.
And also, too, I mean, kudos to you, Kyron, because obviously you were deemed worthy of acquiring this sudden Titan ability. And that's incredible. Did you find something?
It's the third fastest Titan.
Which one is the second and the first?
Second is the jaw. Well, technically a specific jaw.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like a one that can...
You can...
Yeah.
Yes, because he can...
Yeah.
Yes. And then number one is founding, obviously.
Yeah, because, I mean, each stride is so freaking long.
Does it say? It doesn't even give me a speed.
But, I mean, I think that it's safe to say that, I mean, the cart Titan is probably the fastest Titan, because the other two are very specific, you know? Because it's not like you turn into a cart Titan and it's like, oh, you can either become a slow cart Titan or you can, become like a very specific. No, it's like you are
the cart.
You're a quad, and then I referred last week to the Titan as a quadricep, and then SB had to correct me and say it's a quadruped.
Yes.
And then the quadricep is like a muscle.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, yeah, thank you so much for that, SB.
Quads.
Okay.
Quad.
Yeah, the quad.
Quadricep. Quadrupedal. Oh my gosh. I'm so curious. I just want... What? Oh, meters per second. That's what it is. 100.39 meters per second. How many meters? Whoa, wait. Miles per...
Yeah, you want to go ahead and change that to miles.
Meters per second to miles. Sorry, we're American here.
Yeah.
So, 1 meter per second is 2.237 miles per hour. So, calculator. what was it, 100.35? Is that what I read?
Yeah, while Zach is doing the math, I did want to also
2.237.
mention I'm wearing my Zach shirt. Zachy, my Sanji son, as you can see here.
225 miles per hour. Wow, hey, it's me. You know, ironically enough, so the lollipop thing, I just found this out the other day. The lollipop thing with Sanji. That comes from when...
Blurry.
That comes from when 4Kids Entertainment got the rights to One Piece to dub it originally for 4Kids as a bundle. They didn't even ask for One Piece. They got it as a bundle.
Wow.
And 4Kids is literally, it's 4Kids.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do like cigarettes or blood. So like,
I don't like where you're going with this.
it was so bad.
What do you have, a freaking lollipop?
Yes. Sanji always carried a lollipop. So that's where the lollipop comes from.
Yeah. Okay.
Because 4Kids
Yeah.
botched One Piece. It was so like in general, like don't ever watch it. Don't
No,
ever watch
I never
the 4Kids
will.
version.
But also too is
But
like
you
the
should
fact
watch
that
the sub.
the fact that you mentioned don't give me that look. The fact that you mentioned that One Piece got thrown into the bundle. Like the disrespect to One Piece that here, you're just gonna go ahead and we'll give you this one too.
One of the lead creators, like directors for 4Kids, like the top guys, openly stated like we did no research into One Piece. It just came with it. It came with what we wanted, and no, we did not watch a single episode. We didn't do any research, and we got it, and we were appalled because we could not put that on our network because it is literally supposed to be for the ages of 5 to like 12.
Yeah, for the 4Kids, right?
Now that you've seen One Piece, you know.
Oh, I understand. Yeah,
It is
because even
not-
then when
it is not sunshine.
you get to a certain point where it's like there's certain characters that are drawn very kind of
Dude, the
voluptuous and
first-
stuff like that. Whatever.
Oh, well, that too. And then, dude, even in the first 7 episodes, someone loses an arm.
Yeah, well, you got obviously somebody who can use their devil fruits to detach limbs and stuff. But then you have somebody who Shanks. We find out what happened.
Spoiler alert, dude. It's been out for over 20 years.
But
Watch
also too,
the thing, man.
I think about with like this is much later on into One Piece, but like Brooke, like, can I please see your panties or something?
Panties desu.
Can I please see your panties?
But yeah, that's what I saw. The lollipop. Like that's where the lollipop came from. Was 4Kids screwing up One Piece. Made me mad.
Well, I mean, if this is a Zach shirt, this is Zach because we know that Zach likes lollipops. He doesn't smoke, so that's why.
Hold up, I had the number. I said what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah, 225 miles per hour for the Car Titan.
Damn, that's fast.
So in a straight
225
line.
miles per hour.
Hold on, I'm doing the full math right now.
Yeah. We're doing the math
Distance
for Kyron.
from
Let him know how.
Cali to
This is at top speed, right?
Louisiana. Yes.
Okay. Do we know how long these cart titans can run top speed? Do they have like stamina?
I don't care. He will go full speed.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I mean, he's still trying to figure out his abilities, man.
So, California to Louisiana, 1,878 miles.
1,878. Wow.
So remember this: 224.57.
Yeah, 224.57.
Just keep saying that.
224.57. 224.57. What was it? 224.57.
It's gonna take you 8 hours and about 25 minutes.
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow, Kyron.
The solid full-time shift.
I'll see you
right
tomorrow, Kyron. I'll see you tomorrow, Kyron. I expect you here by 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll let you leave at midnight. Get some time to pack.
Wow.
I'll see you before I go to work tomorrow morning.
Well, kudos, Zach, for doing all the math.
I'm a math guy. What can I say?
Very, very cool.
I took up to linear algebra and differential equations. I can figure out how long it takes a cart titan to travel cross country.
That's crazy. All right.
Numbers. If you ever need a calculator.
Yeah. But I just wanted to update you.
I wanted to update you as far as what Kyron's been up to.
Damn it, Karen. Why'd you have to get the cart? You could have been so cool.
I mean, he didn't have a choice.
It's okay. I still love you anyways. Like,
Yeah.
that's my son.
Cool.
Even if you are an ugly, deformed quadrupedal Titan. But it's okay. You're my ugly. I love you more than Reese likes Flagel.
Oh, I would hope so.
Or not Reese. Who am I?
Yeah, Demo.
I love you more than Demo loves Flagel.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Demo Reeves. Mr. Reeves.
Reeds.
Mr. Reeves.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson.
Anything else that this ADHD brain can conjure up?
One other thing is that I think Eddie had mentioned that if he were to live cast, because I talked about he wants to be a filmmaker, right? So he wants to acquire the rights.
He wants me to be Zeke.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Because he told me he wanted you to be Flagel. But Zeke's much better.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Pause.
He's like,
Did he say
I
Flagel
could
or did he
totally
say
see
Zeke?
Flagel.
I
But
saw
the
it
thing
the
is,
other
you would
day.
have to transform your body though. So he's giving you a little bit of work to do because you obviously have to go ahead and put on some weight.
Hey.
But,
love food.
I'll tell you this right now, Eddie. I that's cool that you want him to be Zeke, but you're gonna have to rethink that because Zach can't grow a beard.
You're an asshole. That was uncalled.
He's gonna
for.
have to be Niccolo. So.
No.
What do you
I was
mean?
wrong.
No.
We were both wrong. We were both wrong.
So it is Flagel?
It was Irwin.
What?
Irvin.
He wants you to be Irwin? Commander Irvin.
I could do Nicolo. I literally got the Nicolo hair going.
You can be Niccolo for sure.
Right? This is Nicolo hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Eddie said Irvin.
My
That-
soldiers rage.
Yeah, that's
My soldiers fight.
yeah.
I gotta do a little bit deeper.
That's the thing is
I can
it's
make it bloodier.
hard
I can make
to
it.
execute. Yeah. Can we do that again? I can make it sound bloodier.
I can make it bloodier.
That's the goat, Chris Sabat.
See, there we go. God,
All right.
let's go. I can do
Cool.
this.
You can
I can
be
do
Irvin.
this. I gotta get big again.
As long as I'm still
Am I
Grisha.
too tall for Irvin? How tall is Irvin?
I think
Back to the
Irvin's
safari.
pretty tall.
Does that mean I get to fall in love with Levi?
Yeah. Definitely.
How tall is... I just want to say, I'm thrown off by the auto. You know when Google auto suggests?
Mm.
The first couple are how tall is Ferris Wheel? How tall is Jenna Ortega? How tall is Messi? How tall is Kevin Hart? How tall is Tom Cruise? What?
Yeah, people want to know.
How tall is Irvin Smith? 6'2".
Ooh, right up your alley.
I'm an inch above. Let's go.
Yeah. There you go.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's some damn good casting there, Eddie.
Let me know
I
when
like
we're
it.
shooting. I'm ready.
Hold on, you gotta look. How tall is Grisha?
Oh. That's a great question.
Yeah.
How tall is...
How tall?
How do you
Is
spell Grisha? I always
Grisha
Grisha Jaeger. Guess.
I want to say he's 5'9".
It won't give me feet. I got 182 centimeters, buddy.
All right, now change that to
That's
something I can understand.
version. He's 15 meters tall. In Titan form. God dang it.
He
I'm not
gave you how
doing the
tall. He
conversion.
gave you how tall he was in Titan form as his Attack Titan.
What the heck? Okay, whatever. 182 centimeters in feet. 5'11.654.
Damn, too tiny. It's okay. I'll be a taller Grisha.
We can bonk you down a bit.
Oh, I don't think
We can
so.
do the Usopp hammer.
No, it's okay. I'm okay. Blurry vision.
See.
Whatever you said, it's now censored you.
What did I say?
I don't know. You're censored.
I'm censored?
Yeah.
Or you mean I'm blurred?
Yeah.
How tall is Zeke Jaeger? It said how old. I don't care how old Zeke
Bro,
is.
you're not Zeke. Eddie says you're Irvin. Take that and be happy that. he
you're
did
right.
it.
I'm not Zeke. He's only 6 foot. Short.
Yeah, there you go. Still taller than Grisha though.
Can I come back to...
How tall is Ymir? Obviously, it's gonna give you the other Ymir, but we want to know the other Ymir because that's who Lexi's fan casted as.
Ymir Fritz, right?
No, Ymir Fritz is
No, not Fritz. What's the other Ymir's like?
she was just deemed Ymir. Yeah, it's a tricky one because there's two characters named Ymir.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
AOT
Character heights or something?
Yeah, AOT character heights. There we go, baby. Where is Ymir?
That's the question. That's the question we've been wanting to wonder. Is where is she? Where is she at? She's 5'8"?
She is 5'8".
Okay, that can work.
That's pretty good. That's pretty. What? Yeah, that's pretty. That's almost spot on.
She's just a hair tinier.
Yeah.
That works.
Rhina's 6'1". Damn, I didn't realize how tall Birdie was.
Oh yeah, he's tall.
6'3.5".
I'll be Bear Tool too. I can be Bear Tool. So yeah, Eddie, get to work on.
Okay. Put me whoever. Just make me blonde. I'm ready.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and finally get to a close here. But thank you guys again so much for sticking around, for listening, for taking the time out of your guys' day to go ahead and listen to this podcast where we talk about all things Attack on Titan, even sometimes sprinkle in some other anime.
I love One Piece.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I love One Piece.
I love One Piece because he loves One Piece.
Super.
All right, guys. So that wraps up another episode of Attack to Talk. This is season 3 of our breakdowns and discussions. We just finished part 2 of episode 2. We still have a part 3 to cover. We're going to finish that episode. Make sure you guys follow along. Make sure you guys stay up to date. Follow us over at Attack to Talk Podcast on Instagram for all of your updates. Also available on our Instagram profile page is our link tree. You guys click that link and it'll have all the different platforms where we're all available. I know that we're going to give a big shout out again to NatePlaysBad, who edits the videos, takes the time, and Nate is now wants to make that YouTube channel more visually pleasing. So if you guys don't, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Again, go to that link tree. There's a link for you guys to go ahead and check out our channel on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so that you guys are always up to date. You guys can go ahead and watch us at a later time when the episodes are published. We publish episodes on Fridays. So just go ahead and stay up to date, guys, over the different platforms that we're available. And make sure you guys follow us again at Attack Talk Podcast on Instagram. And make sure you guys go support NatePlaysBad. You guys can go to his YouTube channel as well as his Twitch channel. It is the same name, NatePlaysBad. Go check him out. As Zach has talked about, Nate has some incredible content. So
he's funny.
Shout out to you, Nate. Thank you again. All right, guys. We're going to talk about a little bit of merch. Some merch platforms for you guys to go ahead and check out if you guys are interested in purchasing any sort of anime merch. There's an Instagram that you guys can go ahead and check out, and that Instagram is AnimeCrunch. That name is spelled anime, right? Just like how you spell anime. Well, then Crunch is spelled CRUNC, 2 H's. Excuse me. That is AnimeCrunch, 2 H's, and then the number 24. So AnimeCrunch 24, you go ahead and check out that Instagram, and then they're going to have a link for you guys to go ahead and click on. You guys click that link, it'll take you to their online store. And guess what? You guys go ahead and search through the many, many different anime merch that they have. I mean, they have a lot of different stuff, guys. They have a lot of different figurines, a lot of different stickers, posters, different etc. stuff. I have a few items that are here, in this room, right at this very moment. So go check that out, guys. Another way for you guys to go ahead and purchase some different merch is Fandomion. Fandomion, we have a link for you guys to use in our link tree. You click that link, it'll send you straight to their online store. And guess what? There is a promo code that you guys can use. That promo code is LEX. That's LEX. Promo code LEX. You guys go ahead and search through Fandomion, browse, look through all the different items that they have. They have so much anime stuff, but they also have a lot of other different merch that stems to Star Wars stuff, to Marvel stuff, to DC stuff, to maybe even, Last of Us stuff, just a lot of different stuff, One Piece stuff. And you guys go ahead, browse, search through that site. And if you guys see anything you like, guess what? You get to your cart. Make sure, not Cart Titan, make sure you get to your cart here when you're getting ready to go ahead. Yeah, not to your Kyrans, because Kyron, he's not going to help you here in this moment, because Lexi will. You get to your cart and you go ahead, you make sure you use that promo code LEX for 10% off of your purchase. And yeah, and when Lexi comes back, we'll see if we have any updates for her. We know that Fandomion gives her updates on what's new and all that, and yeah. So make sure you guys check out the different ways we have for you guys, the accessible ways for you guys to go ahead and browse through some different merch. That is AnimeCrunch, and that is at Fandomion. All right, guys. Last thing we want to talk about here is some art talk. Of course, we have a friend of the show who is joining us today, and that is our friend Eddie Hinston. Eddie Hinston is also a very talented creator. We know that he likes to go ahead and create art. He has a channel dedicated to his art. That channel, that page over on Instagram is Art Dewan. That is Art DE1. Art Dewan. Go check that out, guys. Go and support him. And I talked about how creative he is. We talked about it earlier on this episode, guys. But, you know, he aspires to be a filmmaker. He's creating content. He has a YouTube channel. Go check out the YouTube channel. That is at Eddie Hinston. He's been trying to help out anybody who wants to learn how to skate. He's been trying to help you guys out. He's posting videos, trying to teach you guys how to go ahead and learn some tricks. If you guys are interested in learning how to skate, it's definitely worth a watch. Go ahead and check out his channel. But huge shout out to you, Eddie. We also have a friend of the show who was not able to join us, but that is Marco Momone. Go ahead and check out his
Marco
Instagram. It is his name, Marco Momone. The Marco, I believe, is not an O, it is a 0. So Marco Momone on Instagram. Go check it out, guys. He has some also he's really, really cool stuff. He's very creative, and shout out to Marco, shout out to Eddie, and of course we have Caesar, who has been working very hard. Caesar, he has his own shop over at Frank & Sons. That's not Frankie and Sons. It's not Frankie from One Piece. That is Frank & Sons.
Super.
But I'm sure that Caesar will, maybe does, have some One Piece art. And if he does, then I'm definitely interested.
I'm against.
Yeah. I have to go ahead and hit up Caesar about that.
Pieces.
But yeah, go support Caesar. He has his Etsy store. I believe it's still available. We have that available over in our link tree. Check out that link tree, guys. Click down at the bottom. I believe there is a link that'll send you to his Etsy store. He has different art that's available. Go support him, guys. But also go ahead and check out his Instagram channel, his Instagram page. His Instagram page is art_of_Caesar. That is ArtofCesar, art_of_Caesar_. That is 3 underscores, guys. 3 of them. So ArtofCesar, 3 underscores. Check it out, guys. He's been posting a lot of awesome stuff.
He's been killing it lately.
Yeah. So go ahead and check it out, guys. It's definitely worth a look. But yeah, huge shout out to our friends who are very creative, very artistic, and you guys keep doing your things. So very cool. So, of course, guys, as we get to our final close here, huge shout out to our core, to the ones who go ahead and support us each and every week, the ones who go ahead and join us as we stream live on Sundays. Again, it's so cool that you guys go ahead and join us, where we're able to talk about each episode, because it's so much fun to talk about AOT with you guys. Again, we've got some awesome insight from SB, awesome insight from Eddie. You know, when we're talking about this episode, you guys chime in, you guys go ahead and talk about certain moments, and we get different point of views. It's so cool. And thank you guys so much. For people who are still listening here and joining us again, just your support is so appreciated. Thank you guys so much. You guys are the reason why this podcast is so freaking fun. You know, we talk about it. I mean, it's just fun for us to go ahead and talk about Attack on Titan all together, right?
Sir.
I mean, shoot. That's why this podcast was created, because there's so many times where literally we would go ahead and just talk about hours of Attack on Titan stuff. And then I got to thinking, hey, you know what? Why don't we just put some microphones in front of us? Yeah, we'll go ahead and put a camera in front of us, and let's go, right? And that's why this was created. But guess what? You guys love this. Make it so much fun. You know, when we're able to talk live with you guys, we're able to go ahead and get comments, you know, and stuff, and you guys' feedback. It's incredible. Thank you guys so much. In terms of feedback, guys, we have questions, you know, a little Q&A that we go ahead and post. Remember, guys, the Q&A is going to be posted now on Instagram. Before we did it on Spotify, but now it's going to be posted on Instagram. So I know that a friend of the show, B. Dennis, does a tremendous insight with his responses over on Spotify. But B. Dennis, we're going to be asking those questions now on Instagram. So please continue giving us your awesome responses. And for everybody else who gave us your responses, thank you so much. It was very, very cool to go and talk about them. And we also even referenced them as we went through the episode. We talked about the episode. We went and called back to some of the responses, which is very, very cool. So make sure you guys stay up to date with the Q&As that are going to be over on Instagram at Attack to Talk Podcast. And we also do a poll.
that Zach goes and he posts the poll question to you guys over on Instagram as well. Make sure you guys all follow along for that because we love your guys' where the results all lay. It's very, very cool.
One of my favorite things is posting the poll.
Yeah, posting the poll, and then again, it surprises me.
Respond to your responses.
Yeah. So if you guys have anything you want to go ahead and send, go ahead and send it to Zach. Zach will go ahead and comment and stuff for sure. But yeah. So again, make sure you guys are all aware of that. We do that on the weekly. And continue to go ahead and give us your feedback because your feedback is very much appreciated. So yeah, it's very cool, guys.
Yes.
With all that being said, Attack the Talk loves you guys. You guys know I love you guys. We hope that you guys have a great week. We hope that we see you guys here back with us as we talk about season 3 next week. I am AJ. I'm signing off. Stay positive, guys. We love. We hate. And this is Zach saying bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Big love to you. We'll see you guys next week.